Hey everyone, welcome for one of Hoop's Wraps. I want to run through quickly and just go through basically what's happening in the market, the way I'm seeing it. These are all my personal views, my own opinions of what we're starting to see in the market. But I suppose this is a thesis that I'm sort of running, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it has a lot of impact on what we do here at Equalizer. So effectively, the biggest thing that we've been waiting for, and this is for the longest term that we can sort of track back to, that some of us have even been in the space, and that is the Bitcoin ETF approval. We've seen a lot of speculation around that. We've effectively seen BlackRock come into the mix. There's an accumulation that's been sort of undergone by them is what most people suspect in the background, and they've got a pretty good chance of getting ETFs approved. Now, there was also a court case with the SEC where it was not seen in a favourable light, and effectively with them disapproving one of the last ETFs, and that was an ongoing court case that took a long time. So in my personal opinion, I think the Bitcoin ETF is probably the closest to actually being a reality that we've ever seen. And we have the final deadline for this ARC one coming up on the 11th of January. Okay, so this one here is basically the next one. It has a hard deadline there for January the 11th. Now, that's about a month away. So my expectations are that this should get approved simply because the SEC won't want to muck around. They won't want to expose themselves any further. It might be risky to not approve this. And then effectively, they're going to probably want to, in my opinion, list multiple ETFs at the same time. So the reason that they're going to want to do this is they're not going to want to give anyone an unfair advantage, I would suspect. And they're probably going to want to help their mates out at BlackRock as well. So there's some fighting elements there for the SEC to consider. So in my opinion, we've got about a month for the ETF approval, and I think there's a high chance that gets approved. Let's move into the Bitcoin chart, because I think it's pretty cool to have a look at, and I've got it up here on the hourly, so we can sort of see what's happened over this last month. And Bitcoin always leads the market or tells a good story, I would suggest, in what direction or how the market is going to trend. And we the last wrap I did, we were down actually, and I'll go down because it's good for showing you across the screen here, but we were down here and I said I think we'll break out and we'll test 30. Well, we did that and we broke straight through it. So you can see that, and we'll go to the daily to make it a bit clearer. You can see that effectively we mucked around, and this is where we were making that video, and then we broke through that, we tested it, and we moved through and we confirmed that the new levels to strive for obviously up here at the moment. And I think this is predicated on the back of this pending ETF approval, and then also retail getting involved. What I've noticed is, I'm getting text messages, a couple a day here, going to a party, and then people are talking about Bitcoin. So starting to see some people come into the market that are retail focused, and that's potentially another catalyst for a move here. So why I've sort of, pulled up the BTC ETH chart is I want to price it in ETH, and I want to just invert it quickly for you and show you. Because this is what makes me think that we might have a bit of an altcoin rally. Because if we go here and we have a look, we can see Ethereum broke out. This is the hourly on Ethereum. And Ethereum, well, I was asleep last night, but many of you were probably awake. Ethereum broke out and took charge, right? And Bitcoin has sort of stalled. It stayed under its local high, and you've seen Bitcoin then come. And I'm not a big chart. I put a couple of lines, trend lines, but I like to watch price action. I like to see what the market looks like with strength. And I know when Ethereum shines or takes the lead, that effectively it could spark an altcoin rally. And I think that's what we might be going to see, because Bitcoin's had the limelight for a fair while now, and it's just tapered off as we saw, and it's just sitting under that 44 mark. But then ETH has gone and made a new high, a new local high, or a new high for this year. So effectively we're now seeing that in the chart, where it's like, okay, we think Ethereum to Bitcoin is oversold, and then we've had this big leg up on the daily here, where it's gone from 0.05 of a Bitcoin to 0.054 of a Bitcoin each Ethereum is worth. So If we go back and we just zoom out a little bit on that chart, typically even that was a place of a sort of support in the past. So it's a pretty good place for us to see a bump. The reason I'm showing you this is to show you the correlation between the two assets. And when we see, the Ethereum or the Bitcoin dominance sort of dominate too far, and Ethereum come down to sort of a level like this, it's saying, okay, we need to really write the scorecard again. We need to come back up. And this is probably where I would say, in my last video, I was saying Bitcoin was the stronger hold. And in this, I'm saying I think Ethereum is, in my own personal opinion, if we're judging by the two assets. And I'd go a step further and say I think altcoins could even be the better bet again, because if Ethereum leads this, it then might flow into the altcoins there, which is what I sort of expect to happen. So good news that Ethereum's broken here. Let's see what it does after that. It's a strong move. It's looking strong. That's what I'm seeing as a read on the market and looking at those two assets. And then we come along here, and I want to show you another thing that's sort of starting to happen out there. Like we saw Layer 0 today, they put out that they're going to be, it looks like they're going to do an airdrop. Very, very large protocol there. Lots of people involved. Going to be massive airdrop. The optimism round for voting, round 3 there of the retro grants, that has just had 30 million OP allocated to it. That finalized last night. So I think OP, last I checked, was over $2. We're talking about 60 something million dollars pushed into that market to be distributed to the projects that are involved here. Obviously, Equalizer being on base qualified, so there's obviously something to roll out there, and we're obviously looking for further information to see how that goes. But that's very, very positive. We saw the ARB airdrop, the ARB stimulation has just occurred as well. So we're starting to see all of these like layer 2s and these layer 1s and everyone get out there and stimulate the market because they're seeing positives. We're getting projects reach out to us saying, can we list? Because, we've been dormant for a little while and we see the market picking up. We want to sort of launch it or sort of a relaunch or whatever they're looking for. So we're starting to see things tick up in the market, and that's ultra positive. From my perspective, I'm ultra bullish at this point. I'm bullish that alts might take a leap from here, but it's just my opinion at the end of the day, and I think effectively it's a good place to start to go through and start to rationalize what's happening in the broader market, what's happening in the correlation between Bitcoin and ETH, and start to see where you think the value in the market sits.